Listen here, you little shits. Fuck you! Hi everybody, welcome. Welcome to Thursday, which is Monday, which is Thursday, which is Monday. I don't have any brain cells, but that's okay. Where we're going, we don't need brain cells. Allegedly, probably. I don't know. Let me just fix that real quick. Hi, hello, it's me, your boy. Alright, we got a few things to talk about in Canadian politics, because that's mostly what I do on Thursdays. Mostly what I do on Thursdays is politics and politics around the world and how they relate to Canada land. I don't know if we're gonna take a look at Moose on the Loose. We might just check in on him and see what he said about this statement that Mark Carney made. Yeah, Mark Carney made a video that is basically like an unofficial address to like Canadian citizens, like a national address. And so we're gonna watch that. It's only like 9 minutes long. And then I want to see. I pulled up Tyler, who is an American who reacts to stuff that's going on. I want to see what he has to say about it. There's also been a couple of things that have been highlighted by Bill Kelly, and I wanted to highlight. There's just little shorts, part 1 and part 2, that are only like a minute long between the two of them. So we're gonna watch that. And then I also wanted to see, and I saw like another little short by somebody named Nico Loggin. And so we're gonna see. There's also a bit of an update because July is when Kuzma comes up, and so people are starting to talk about that a little bit. So we're gonna take a quick look at like one article about that. Ads are running, winky face. Yeah, do be like that. Did Carney announce that the USA would be the 11th state? No, not yet. No, not yet. Oh, good morning, Lev. Silly tweets about the redistricting votes. Oh, yeah, we'll probably, I don't know. Ugh. Yeah, there's the neighbor dog sounds like he's upset about something. Shall we get started? Let's start with what Carney said. Let's start with his little thing. How dare you send people to Twitter, you monster? Hello, good morning. Hello, hi. Good to see you. Hello. Hi. And yeah, happy good news, everybody. Debate Hub is monetized now. So if you're interested in that and you like debates and discussion topics and stuff like that, it's a little bit more professional as opposed to, you know, shit stirring I do over here. Feel free to go check that out and go subscribe over there. It's Debate Hub Official. Is there anything else? No, I think it's everything. Shall we get started? Let's go! All right, let's see what our Prime Minister has to say. I'm gonna get copyright struck for the fucking music they're playing. Rude.
I know from experience that outside forces can sometimes seem overwhelming. My previous jobs at the
you didn't want to retake saying the word outside forces. A little bit of fumble right out the gate. I like it.
I know from experience that outside forces can sometimes seem overwhelming. My previous jobs at the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England was part of my duties to make regular public reports on what we were doing to manage the economy. And I remember during the financial crisis, when there was a real risk of panic, I developed a practice called forward guidance. It was designed to assure people that however difficult the situation seemed on any given day, that we were acting, and importantly, that we would continue to act with overwhelming force against our problems until they were solved. And that
You mean having a plan and making people aware of the plan? It seems pretty straightforward. You would think that would be like the obvious, like, yeah, duh, you do that. But in politics, you'd actually be surprised. That is definitely not what the fuck happens. You know what I mean? Oh, EMP in the chat says, woo, nice how channels that get monetized appear to deserve it, at least for the most part, and channels that get demonetized deserve it. Winky, winky. I've seen it few months to get acknowledged from YouTube for hitting the mark. Yeah, we hit it, we got it, we bing bang boomed our way straight through. So Debate Hub's looking pretty good so far. So now all I need is like if you guys want to help out, is your community, your participation in the comment section, in the community tab, coming and watch the videos, making sure you like the videos, sharing the videos, topics that you guys want to debate, people who are interested in coming and doing debates, other content creators. I made a Discord for content creators and debaters for people who are, so if you know anybody that's interested or you're interested, come on over. All right, let's keep going.
That's the spirit I'm talking to you about today. Security can't be achieved by ignoring the obvious or downplaying the very real threats that we Canadians face. I promise you, I will never sugarcoat our challenges. Instead, I will talk with you directly and regularly about our plan, why we're doing what we're doing, what's working, what isn't. And
I mean, he's making this statement in this. It seems to me that he's already been doing that. Like, he usually doesn't shirk away from saying, like, yeah, no, that's a problem, and here's what we're doing about it. It's not like, oh, well, that's actually that guy's fault. He doesn't do a whole lot of, like, the passing the buck that I've noticed.
What we're going to do next. So here's the current situation. The world, as I said earlier, is more dangerous and divided. The U.S. has fundamentally changed its approach to trade, raising its tariffs to levels last seen during the Great Depression. Many of our former...
I have a question about that. Do you guys think that the United States' new trading policy is going to last longer than 4 years? And I'm asking you. Do you guys think that Donald Trump's trading policies will last longer than he does? As in to say he has like a 3.5 years? No, 2.5 years? He got 2.5 years left in office? Do you think his trading policies and the way he does things is going to last longer than him? It's hard to say because we don't really know what's coming. And it can kind of like just feels to me as an outsider that it could kind of like go either way. The 4 years of this presidency, yeah. Like, whether or not he, drops dead tomorrow from, like, a heart attack or whatever. I have a hard time seeing these policies outlasting him, even if one of his sycophants takes his place. So even if another Republican were to be the president of the United States after this, and even if it was, like, basically J.D. Vance, or even Stephen Miller, I have a hard time thinking that, like, this is the strategy that's gonna stay. You know what I mean? But,
strengths, based on our close ties to America, have become our weaknesses that we must correct. Workers in our industries most affected by U.S. tariffs, in autos, in steel, in lumber, are under threat. Businesses are holding back investments, restrained by the pall of uncertainty that's hanging over all of us. The U.S. has changed, and we must respond. Canada Strong is our plan to build Canada by Canadians for Canadians.
So something that's interesting about that is like the rhetoric in that basically means that he's pushing like the problems off of Canada and off of the United States, off of like our policies and our politics as Canadians, and putting taking the fault and putting it over there, but still taking on the responsibility of having to deal with it. So it's kind of a nice little. So he's like not saying like, hey, we're at fault. Hey, we did this. Hey, Canada sucks. We blah, blah, blah. He's just like, hey, yeah, we didn't do this, but we're gonna have to do something about it. Which yeah.
We'll attract new investment so we can build more for ourselves, striking new partnerships abroad so we can sell into new markets. It's about taking back control of our security, our borders, and our future.
I'm not gonna lie, Carney's like family seems like one of like the better political families that I've seen in the last handful of years. Like his wife seems genuinely happy to be going around and doing this with him and like traveling around and doing all this shit, as opposed to being like dragged along for the ride or like just trying to hold shit together while like whatever politics is going on. Admittedly, it's still early on, but it's early on in a relatively like choppy water, like a difficult time. So I mean, it's good to see that it seems it's at least a very like strong foot forward, in my opinion.
some who say there's no need for a comprehensive plan. They believe we should wait it out in the hope that the United States will return to normal, that the good old days will come back. But hope isn't a plan, and nostalgia is not a strategy.
Hope isn't a plan, and nostalgia is not a strategy are kind of fire. That's kind of fire, dude. I mean, he's not wrong. That's the thing, right? He's just not wrong, man. And, like, what about the good old days do we even want? You know what I mean? I think that the good old days is him pandering a little bit to, like, older conservatives, like old school conservatives who are, like, you know, in their 50s and 60s now. I think that's for them to be like, hey, listen, is the United States ever going to go back to normal? Was the United States ever normal to begin with? Even the normalcy in the United States doesn't seem to fucking feel good about that, you know what I mean?
But hope isn't a plan, and nostalgia is not a strategy. And the days that young Canadians have known all their lives haven't been that good.
Yeah, see? That's what I just said. Is that not what I just said? Hasn't been that great? And that's like, the answer is no, it hasn't been. So, like, that's a cool acknowledgement. I like that. That's nice.
Their lifetimes have been marked by a series of shocks and crises from abroad. The Iraq War, the global financial crisis, COVID, and now this. We have to take care of ourselves because we can't rely on one foreign partner. We can't
Bitch, we eat global crises for breakfast.
control the disruption coming from our neighbors. We can't bet our future on the hope that it will suddenly stop.
Well, and that's the thing,
We can't control the disruption coming from our neighbors.
We can't control the disruption coming from our neighbors.
We can't bet our future on the hope that it will suddenly stop.
We can't bet our future on the hope that it'll suddenly stop. If we don't do anything about it, why would somebody else stop punching us? Right?
But we can control what happens here. We can build a stronger country that can withstand disruptions from abroad, that creates good jobs here at home, that's a leader in this new world with a vast network of reliable allies. That's the Canada Strong plan we're putting into action. Its goals.
I'm not gonna lie. I like being the middleman in this. I don't want to be an empire and be like dominating everybody on the global stage like the United States wants to do or has done in the past. I don't want to do what China wants to do, which is the same sort of thing. Same as Russia, right? All of them have like the same fucking vibe where they're just like, we're gonna just oppress everybody else to get what we want. Whereas, like, I kind of like the idea of just being like, hey, listen, we're just the chill dude. You want to work with us? Yeah, no, it's all good. We're not going to tell you what to do. We're going to be like, don't do humanitarian crises, please. Thank you. And it's just like, we're not going to tell you what to do. Just don't make us step in. It's a very me vibe. This is how I feel like when I'm moderating. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but I'm going to tell you to stop being an asshole. Don't make me step in.
Are ambitious. To catalyze $1 trillion in investment. To create one Canadian economy out of 13. To build new trade and energy corridors. And to double the size of our clean energy capacity.
This is what he said on the campaign trail a year ago.
Yes, that's ambitious. But in a crisis, fortune favors the bold. And there's comfort and confidence to be found in our country's history. After all, our ancestors built an improbable country in an inhospitable land where people were free to live their own lives. When I get into the office, I always look at this statue on my desk. It was given to me by Mike Myers just over a year ago. And this is General Isaac Brock. Brock was a hero who fought and gave his life for our forebears in the War of 1812. Before Canada even existed on paper, it had a shape in Brock's imagination.
Okay, so part of this needs to be hit with a caveat. Brock, one of the reasons why the War of 1812 was won so handedly by Canada, to be Canada, versus the United States at the time, is because we aligned ourselves, and like Canada, quote unquote, aligned itself, and Brock at the time aligned himself with the Native American tribes, who proceeded to then get fucked over. We still got work to do on that. And I would be remiss not to mention that.
Faced with the threat of an American invasion, Brock built alliances across our land and inspired what would eventually become Canada. Others carried that effort forward. People like General de Salaberry, citizens like the Voltigeurs, who defended Châteauguay, and indigenous heroes such as Chief Tecumseh, who united indigenous nations across the Great Lakes to resist U.S. expansion and protect their lands.
And then Britain fucked them over, because of course they did.
Battled together against a common foe. And by doing so, they made our life today possible. This statue, General Brock, that I see every morning in the Prime Minister's office reminds me that when we're united as Canadians, we can withstand anything. Long before Confederation, our country was...
And now we just gotta make sure we don't fuck our allies over.
was forged by indigenous peoples, coureurs de bois, and voyageurs, who mapped their continent and built vast trading networks from coast to coast to coast before the Americans had even left St. Louis. When the Second World War ended, Canada was ambitious, determined, and united in a mission to build big things. The St. Lawrence Seaway, Trans-Canada Highway, Expo 67, the CN
The St. Lawrence Seaway is fucking crazy.
Tower. We built new neighborhoods for hundreds of thousands of veterans and their families. And we opened new universities to launch their careers. We've begun to make big structural changes in the Canadian economy. And they're all designed to make us stronger at home and less reliant on the United States. On housing.
So that's something I do want to bring up as well. That this is not the first time Canada has been arguably too reliant on the United States. The United States starts throwing its weight around in a way we dislike, and so we separate ourselves out again. And inevitably, in like 100 years, we'll get a little bit too reliant, we'll get a little too comfortable again, because it's impossible to not deal with the United States as Canada or as Mexico. We are too geographically connected for us to not trade with each other at all, or even trade with each other a lot. The goal isn't to never trade with the United States again, it's just not have the United States be like 75% of our exports. Like, that's insane. It's a huge number. Bringing that down to 50 or below 50% would probably be ideal. But, like, it's still probably going to be the biggest out of, like, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that Mark Carney is trying to make another country take over the majority of our trade. I still think that the United States will be our largest trading partner. We just want that number to be more reasonable, that is balanced out by a number of other countries rather than one other large country, right? So if we want to go from 75 to 30, we can't just move that 40% to a different country, because we just run into the exact same fucking problem, right?
Housing, we're taking a solution from the past, modernizing it, and creating a new housing agency to build affordable homes faster and transform the housing sector in the process.
They used to sell houses in a catalog.
It's already up and running. And though we have a ways to go yet, housing affordability is already improving. For example...
This is true. It is. He's correct about that.
And though we have a ways to go yet, housing affordability is already improving. For example, asking rents across Canada at their lowest level in nearly 3 years. On energy and infrastructure, we're removing roadblocks that have been getting in the way of big projects. On trade, to sell our goods and create new jobs, we're building relationships with other countries. We've signed 20 new deals on 4 continents in less than a year because Canada...
Holy shit, 90 deals in 90 days!
Canada has what the world wants, from energy to education. We have the values to which most of the world aspires. And we're a reliable partner in a world that is anything but. We're defending Canadian sovereignty by investing in our security and creating an industry to support it. We've embarked on an ambitious new mission to rebuild, rearm, and reinvest in the Canadian Armed Forces, with the single largest increase in defense investment in generations. As a result, recruitment to serve our country is already up 13%.
Bro, Canada was getting threatened with actual war by the United States, and Canada said, okay, bet, and the Canadian citizens went up 13%. Usually when, like, wartime fucking starts happening and war talk starts happening, the number of people that join the military goes down. Not in Canada! And I say that, like, as much as I sound like I'm joking, that's actually consistent. If you go look at like World War I and World War II and look at recruitment for when war happens, every time a war starts, Canada's recruitment spikes. Because we're like, hey, fuck that guy, eh? You would think that, like, the United States actively threatening us with, like, war and annexation would make people not want to join the military and potentially do war. Or, like, you know, what's gone on in Iran would make Canadians not want to join the military. Or, like, Ukraine, or, you know, Palestine. Canadians not. Canadians are like, okay, bet, what's up? Let's fucking go, bro.
This is the first time since the fall of the Berlin Wall that Canada will be spending what our allies expect and what we need for our defense. And we're just getting started. Our defense strategy will catalyze $500 billion in investment in Canada over the next decade. Our plan for Canada is gaining momentum, and it will work. But we are not going to fix all our problems tomorrow. And there will be setbacks along the way. The biggest payoffs will take time. So we know that Canadians need a boost today and a bridge to tomorrow. That's why, as we build a stronger economy, we're focused on lowering costs for Canadians. On day one in office, we canceled the consumer carbon tax. We cut taxes for 22 million middle-class Canadians, saving a two-income family up to $840 this year.
So that's one thing that I want to point out. When cutting taxes is not always a good thing to do, but one thing you'll notice about Carney's tax plans versus, like, some of the rhetoric you'll hear from, like, Republicans or even Democrats in the United States, is the tax cut plans are almost always unbalanced or unreasonably set to benefit people who are already making a large amount of money. So if you don't like tax cuts and you're like, why is Carney doing a tax cut? The fact that the tax cut is specifically hitting middle class should indicate something.
We've cut taxes for first-time homebuyers, saving them up to $50,000 on their first homes. We've reduced tolls for vehicles on the Confederation Bridge and cut fares by 50% on ferries in Atlantic Canada. We've launched something called automatic federal benefits. What it does is it will help 5.5 million low-income Canadians get the benefits that they're entitled to. We've made the National School Food Program permanent, feeding 400,000 children and saving their parents $800 a year on groceries.
$800 a year on groceries on top of, like, guaranteeing that kids don't go hungry during school is pretty fucking great.
We're protecting the social programs that give every Canadian a fair chance to get ahead. Childcare, dental care, and pharmacare. We have everything we need here at home. Most of all, we have each other. Canadians are the hardest working, best educated people in the world. We care deeply about each other and about our country. And Canadians have responded to this crisis with that spirit. We're buying Canadian. We're investing Canadian.
Though, if there is anything that tells you anything about Canadians being united about anything, it is the Buy Canada shit that went on. Like, holy fuck. It's 5% of 20%? Well, that's on one thing, right? So if it's like, if you're low income, right? And so you're not paying money on gas, so you're saving $800 a year, and then you're saving another $800 a year. That's $1,600 a year just off of those two things, right? So that's like, that's like a month of rent, depending on where you live. But, yeah.
Canadian. We're exploring Canadian. Canadians everywhere are all in. We all desire a better country. We've been a great neighbor, always willing to help our friends in their times of need. We've stood shoulder to shoulder with our allies in some of the toughest circumstances imaginable. In Kandahar, on Juno Beach, and at Vimy Ridge. We've been a beacon to the world with our values and our ability to always overcome incredible challenges. The situation.
So we just had an astronaut coming back, right, as part of Artemis. We had a Canadian up there, and well, the side eye that guy was giving while the Americans were speaking to Donald Trump is oh my god, the funniest shit. He's just constantly like. Oh my god.
The situation today feels unique, but we've faced at Vimy Ridge. We've been a beacon to the world with our values and our ability to always overcome incredible challenges. The situation today feels unique, but we've faced down threats like this before. And in the weeks and months ahead,
it's not new.
We're going to want to talk with you again. I know you have busy lives and you don't need daily interruptions from me. But the truth is, there's a lot going on in the world, and not all of it is good. And the stakes could not be higher. The way we're going to get through this is together. There's much forward guidance to be found in our shared history. We will get through this because of who we have always been. A country of tough, decent, caring people. People who grow stronger in adversity. It's our country. It's our future. We are taking back control to build Canada strong. It's already working. Let's keep going. Thank you for your time. I know it's precious.
That is probably the least obnoxious address that I think I've listened to in the last couple of years. A lot of the times the addresses feel like really preachy and feel like they kind of say nothing and are just like, that actually felt like I was like, it didn't feel so bad. So one of the things, my Unfinished Journal, who's been a member for 19 months, thank you very much, greatly appreciated. Hail Gabo, hail the resistance, let's fucking go. So something that you need to understand if you want to hear about like the take back control thing, and I get that Feline doesn't like it, but there's something that is in a Canadianism, and how Canadians and how Canada's kind of operated since not long after World War II, but definitively in the 80s. And it's that Canada has taken a passenger seat and has allowed the United States to drive the bus. Now, that wasn't that the United States wrestled control from us. No, Canada has willingly took a back seat. Canada has willingly been like, okay, you drive, that's fine, we'll be here, don't worry about it. So the taking back control issue is not about taking back control of our own country. It's about we're not letting the United States drive anymore. And it's very much in the mindset of Canadians and their fucking views with things like boycotting the United States or buying Canadian products and yada, 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 yada. You might not agree with it. It might be not the best way to look at things, but it's definitely the vibe. It is definitely the vibe. The problem with a boycott is once you've stopped buying everything, you can't make it any stronger. Well, yes. I don't think that everybody is not buying anything from the United States. Like, so if you want an example, if thank you very much. If we if Canada really wanted to fuck over some shit, we would stop buying craft dinner. That would send a message. That would send a message real fast, real hard. So, and we don't want to just have to stop doing everything, right? Like I said before, we can't just stop and won't ever just stop fucking trading with the United States. We're not in a good position to be able to just suddenly be like, we're South Korea and America is North Korea. You know what I mean? If you want to talk about the stakes being higher, the stakes could definitely be higher. The United States is not currently North Korea, and the United States is not currently Russia, even though they're posturing a little bit that way. But also there's a lot of resistance to what the United States is doing from the United States. So there's a lot of infighting going on, and that's going to escalate in the next handful of years, so shit's going to get a little bit crazy. As for like what Canada can do is exactly what we're already doing. Sometimes it's a bit of a war of attrition, and if anybody's gonna be fucking stubborn as shit in a war of attrition, it's gonna be the Canadians. I think there are people that are still fans of the Maple Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs, still holding out hope that the Toronto Maple Leafs will win a fucking Stanley Cup. If Canadians aren't persistent, I don't know what they are. Oh. Why let a driver who's drunk on self-grandiose do anything? Well, you know. Well, you know. If you know, you know. But, I don't know, I think that was a fine address. A little bit flowery in a couple spots, but, you know, not too bad. So this is a response. So let's take a look. This is titled, Carney's next crisis won't be a pandemic, and he's already got the solution ready.
We might be at the cusp of the next crisis, and it's not going to be a pandemic. It's going to be what Mark Carney has been doing ever since being selected as the Prime Minister of Canada, sabotage.
He was voted in on two levels. He was voted in by the Liberal Party, and then he was voted in by Canadians. So, you know. I read the membership chat. Did I miss one? No, I read it. My Unfinished Journey says, for 2 says, don't roll over for T-Dog, like and share instead. Hell yeah. He was not selected. He was selected as in he chose to run, if that's how you want to put it, but no. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Ever since being selected as the Prime Minister of Canada, sabotaging our relationship with the US. His address today was all about that. Same thing as his speech in Davos, Switzerland during the WEF. Kuzma's up for...
I disagree. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the speech that we just watched was all about the United States? I think there was one part about the United States, but most of it was just about propping Canada up. You can't just pretend the United States doesn't exist and isn't being the whole problem right now. At least for Canadians.
A renewal on July 1st. And experts are saying that it doesn't look good. The US doesn't need Kuzma, but Canada needs Kuzma. More than 75%.
You know, I guess that's debatable. What do you mean when you say needs? Kuzma is a trade agreement between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And that trade agreement has already been sort of tossed in the trash illegally by the United States with Donald Trump's terrorism. So, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. If you're saying that the US doesn't need trade agreements when they literally, it's one of their only trade agreements that they fucking have left right now. Don't be logged into the wrong account. Like and share the stream instead.
% of our exports end up in the US. Trump has been very...
Yeah, so that's one of the things that Carney is moving us away from. Remember I said that I was like roughly 70-75% of trade going to the United States? Carney is trying to change that. It's not because he's trying to get rid of all trade with the United States. It's because he wants to bring that dominant number down and diversify. He's been talking about that the whole fucking time.
Very clear that if Kuzma goes...
Sorry, I'll put him back. And if Carney is successful at getting those trade deals with other countries, then he is dealing with the quote-unquote crisis that is Kuzma. If you want to call Kuzma a crisis. Do you guys think... I mean, Canada could increase tax energy exports on the United States. Yeah, no, there's lots that Canada can do. Especially if Kuzma is being renegotiated, right? Then you have to talk about... Just because there is a renegotiation does not mean it's already failed, or does not mean X, Y, or Z, right? So, if we talk about what the deal currently is, a lot of what gets affected is, again, stuff that Carney mentioned, is steel, lumber, and automotive, and energy, which Red Cedar brought up. Energy is a big fucking deal, especially for the big chunk of people that live all like along the Ontario-Quebec border, which is like, you know, New York, Pennsylvania, what's it, the Vermont, even Washington D.C. is pretty close. The Minnesota, there's like a whole ton of those northern states rely on Canada for their energy consumption. So if we just suddenly like blast up the cost of their energy in the United States, that's gonna hurt the United States, both the economy, the people who live there, and the politicians who are doing this. Right? Orange Dot sent a super chat for 2 that says, "Hoard these coins wisely." I will. Thank you for your coins. Let me grab them. Let me grab them from you real quick. Thank you for your coinage. Thank you. You make a great sound. New Hampshire, yeah. Rhode Island, yeah. The war in Iraq blocking the passage of the largest volume of fertilizer in the world. It will only make Canadian potash more important, and we're already increasing production to 40%. Yeah. So, yeah. No, absolutely. The USSA is famous for their strong energy grids. Bruh! You don't gotta do them like that. But, again, it's not to say that having CUSMA or a deal similar to CUSMA with the United States isn't a good thing for Canada to have. Of course, it would be good to have free trade or open trade or trade agreements with the United States and with Mexico. But regardless of whatever Donald Trump does, Canada and Mexico have already negotiated without the United States. So regardless, we're going to have an agreement with Mexico. It's just whether or not our automotive industry gets like hit like a fucking truck, pun intended. But it's not like it's only going to hit us. It's going to hit the United States just as hard. The United States is trying to lift up a rock and then proceeding to drop the rock on its foot. Right? Well, Canadians are like, can you not move our rock? Please? Can you stop doing that? So, well, and part of like dealing with this problem that is CUSMA in the United States and our trade agreement in the United States is, he's right in that the dominance of the United States in the Canadian market is so high that it puts them in a very strong position for these types of negotiations and for weaponizing tariffs or whatever the fuck economic terrorism he wants to do. But what the fuck is the point of Carney going around and making, what did he say, 20 trade agreements and investment agreements across 4 continents? Like, I think he's probably doing as much as he can in the interim. Do you not want him to do that? Do you want to buckle to the United States? Like, what exactly is CUSMA? CUSMA is the agreement between Canada, Mexico, and the United States when it comes to trade. So, tariff limits, getting charged back and forth, yada, yada, yada. Like, who's allowed to sell how much of what with little to no taxes. It's bureaucracy. But yeah, it's one of the things that helps enable like movies to get filmed, right? Stuff like that. And like it'll get called different names depending on where you are. So the United States calls it something different and Mexico calls it something different because all 3 of us it's not as good. All right, Red Cedar, do you think it's better than the original NAFTA? Because I feel like NAFTA, the first one, was better. NAFTA was like the North American Free Trade Agreement, right? That's what it stood for, NAFTA. And then CUSMA was the one that Donald Trump negotiated in during his first term. And he did the exact same shit. NAFTA one seemed better? I thought so too. Oh, there's also like copyright laws that are weaved in there as well. There's like a couple of things. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's a very important trade agreement amongst North American countries. The 3 of us. All right, go on.
Doesn't look good. The U.S. doesn't need CUSMA, but Canada needs CUSMA. More than 75.
I don't believe that the United States doesn't need Kuzma, especially with the fucking position they've put themselves in.
5% of our exports end up in the US. Trump has been very clear that if Kuzma negotiation didn't go well, he was going to put tariffs on us. Can you?
Oh no, more tariffs. Do we care? Do we care? Do Canadians care? I don't think Canadians care. They care in like, don't tariff us, man. Stop. But like, I don't think anybody's gonna be like mad at Mark Carney that fucking Donald Trump is gonna tariff us more. Like, yeah, why do we care? The Americans are paying the tariffs. Yeah, no, this guy, I'm sorry, dude, you're a little bit of a dipshit.
Imagine if the negotiation would fail, how many people would lose their job, wouldn't be able to put food on their table. Wouldn't that be the
okay. I can imagine that. Like, yeah, sure, if Kuzma goes away, and then everything is like all of our trade is in a free fall, for example, right? So then if everything is a free fall, then businesses are charging whatever they want, governments are charging whatever they want. And then do you think that means that trade stops existing? Do you think trade stops happening? You think that companies that operate, especially automotive automotive companies, just stop? A lot of the automotive companies have already decided to work in Canada anyway, as opposed to the United States. And if Trump also tariffs the other countries, it doesn't even matter, right? So all it's going to do is make cars more expensive in the United States. And even if it does make some of our stuff more expensive here, particularly cars, what was it we talked about last week? Was it trains? I think it was trains. I'm pretty sure it was trains. Dang. Oh, man. All right. Billy over here. Hey, where'd you go? I lost your fucking comment. Where'd you go? Come back. Billy. Carney is not that smart of a guy. That's obvious when you listen to the idiot in front of the mic. I mean, liberals in a nutshell are not smart. Can you tell me what 5% of 20% is? Billy, please? We are open to debate and discussion here. So, anyway, I also don't really care about people's personal opinions about whether or not they think some politician is particularly intelligent or not. I care about whether the policies are viable and make sense and will work. So, and like, otherwise I don't particularly care. Your opinion about how smart you think somebody is irrelevant to me. All right, so imagine, if you would, people losing jobs. Yeah. I mean, the pandemic has already dealt with that. Canada's also already tested universal basic income and found that it was incredibly successful. So, I mean, if this ends up being sorry, go on. Let him finish. Sorry. I'm sorry. Say what you're going to say.
He was going to put tariffs on us. Can you imagine if the negotiation would fail, how many people would lose their job, wouldn't be able to put food on their table? Wouldn't that be the perfect opportunity to bring back something like CERB 2.0? You can get $500 a week and stay home, but you need to sign up for the digital ID.
So, no, come back. Get back here. Get back.
We might be.
What do you mean? $500 a month, but you have to sign up for a digital ID? You mean like a driver's license? Or like, for example, your social security number? You know you already have that, right? You know the government already has an ID number for you, right? Like, you know that, like, if you use, like you have a health card? Like, if you have a health card, it has your picture on it, and it has a number on it, and that identifies you to the government. So what are you talking about? Is that scary to you? You're on the internet. You're on YouTube. What do you mean? Yeah, he sounds like that's a threat. Like, But yeah, no, I maybe it would be like, so Serb was when COVID happened and a bunch of people weren't able to work and they were doing shutdowns and stuff. The government stepped up, and which was Justin Trudeau's government sent out an amount of money for people, and you had to sign up for it because bureaucracy. Of course, you had to sign up for it. They needed to keep track of what they were doing, and they needed to keep track of the money. So you had to sign up for it. You had to tell them what your job was, and yada 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 yada, and then you send that in, and they sent you money. Because you weren't able to work. Because there was a fucking pandemic. Duh! So yeah, if Kuzma falling apart ends up leading Canada into universal basic income, I have a passport. A lot of people in Canada, if you want to do your taxes, you can do your taxes online and do direct fucking... and do your taxes directly online. So you don't, you're not mailing shit in. Most people do their taxes in a digital format anyway, so all that's also digital. If you have a job, like what do you fucking mean? It's so nonsense. It's so nonsense. I want to watch, you guys want to watch more of this guy and see what he's about? Because this just came across my feed and I was like, what the fuck? Bro, why are you scared? Yeah, it also prevents fraud. Yeah, having an ID prevents fraud, right? People don't have IDs, Chesh. Oh. This is so stupid. Apparently, the government can only oppress you if you have a national ID, and are definitively oppressing you if you have an ID. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. How embarrassing. What a foot in mouth situation to come in here and say people don't know what they're talking about for me to immediately hit play on this guy. Oops. Sorry, Billy. I didn't mean to do that. Oh man, imagine he said this about bridges or oh man, they're gonna put a bridge here and you're gonna get tolled for it. You're gonna get tolled for it, but they're gonna give you money off of that toll if you sign up, and they'll give you a pass. But then they have your information, like your driver's license number and your plates. They already have your driver's license number and your plates. That's how you got those things. You don't have a license plate without having gone through the government. You don't have a driver's license without having gone through the government. So the fuck are you talking about? Listen, Billy's busy counting on his fingers, and he hasn't realized he's got to get to 20, and he hasn't realized that he could take his socks off and count his toes. Oh my god, they're gonna have the stuff they already have. No! It's so dumb, dude. But hey, listen. If I can get any upside to the downfall of the United States, Canada getting universal basic income seems like a pretty big win. It seems like a pretty big win to me, and I'd like to hear Billy's opinion about why that would be a bad thing. The amount of shit people did during COVID when they didn't have to work all the time was crazy. There was so much innovation. Hey, good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, oh no, they're gonna have the shit they already have. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back to this guy on another day, okay? I just wanted to show this because this was his response to this. And it has nothing to... Zero things to do. They're not related. But if you want to know, what is Mark Carney going to do for Canada? Which is a fair question, right? I would like to point you to the Bill Kelly podcast. I've enjoyed what I've heard of Bill Kelly. I haven't watched all of his shit, but I've enjoyed what I've heard from him. But let's take a listen because these guys are like, I know, we're going to be screwed, blah. Are we? Let's hear about it.
Poilievre, of course, was moaning and groaning, of course, as he usually does. He said it was great that O'Toole has been named to the council, but said he wants to see more action on the trade front from the Prime Minister. Here's the quote. I just want to I shake my head every time I see this guy speak when some of the stuff that he comes out with. He says, "What has Mark Carney done really in a year on this?" Poilievre asked on Tuesday in Ottawa. He hasn't held negotiations in 5 months. The Mexicans are going to be at the table formally with the Americans any day. The only talks that Mark Carney is doing is on YouTube videos. That's pretty rich, by the way, coming from a guy that posts videos all the time.
Pretty rich from the guy who was literally just on Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan was then like immediately in fucking hanging out with Donald Trump, and there was the fucking embarrassment that happened with the UFC and the UFC Dana White, Pierre Poilievre in Winnipeg. I'll talk about that in a minute.
That was his raison d'etre, slogans and videos. But I want to answer the question because I want to be fair about this. I want to answer the question because I want to be fair about this. And Mr. Poilievre has asked, I don't think it's rhetorically, what has Mark Carney done for the last year on this? Let me address that if I could, because we did talk about this on a podcast a week or so ago. And I think it's worth noting here. Mark Carney has signed trade and or security agreements with, get ready now, here's the list, Australia, the European Union, Germany, France, Italy, Japan, Korea, Latvia, Malaysia, Mexico, the Philippines. You keeping up here, Poilievre? Poland, Qatar, South Africa, the United Arab Emirates, the United Kingdom, and others, of course, that we've talked about in the last little while. He's been to Beijing.
17 Beijing,
where Canada agreed to lift tariffs on a limited number of EVs, and in return, got the restrictions on Canadian canola seeds reduced drastically. Other agreements, of course, in India. And this is the stuff that Poilievre just seems to ignore. He did go to the United Arab. He came back with a $70 billion commitment.
$70 billion.
This for sure.
$70 billion from one place. Bro. So, Renegade in the chat makes a good point. He says, I have some concerns myself about digital ID. About digital ID. I don't like the idea that the government's storing all of that info in one place instead of separated. One data breach and boom, they all have then everybody has everything. I agree with that, but that's not a question about whether the ID is a good idea or reasonable or not. It's about the storage and the security of the identification, right? And so, fine. I wouldn't like there. I think that we can work with that. You know what I mean? There's no reason. It's not to say that there are 20 countries plus the EU. Yeah. There's also like nothing to be said that how to go about doing this can't be questioned, right? Or there isn't things to be concerned about, and there absolutely are. Let's talk about Dana White for a second. Let me pull this up. I'm trying to remember where I had it. I think I had it in Discord. Hold on. So UFC took place. Had a big thing in Winnipeg. They had like the big whatever, fucking. I don't follow UFC. I'm sorry, I don't remember what it's called. Let me find it. Here it is. I have to download the video. Uno momento, por favor. Please go to my desktop. Thank you. Let me put it on for you. Check this out. So, UFC had their big fucking fight recently. And it was... Let me pause it real quick. I don't remember what the name of the competition was, but this is it, right? So here's a clip from it, and there's clips of Pierre Poilievre showing up and shaking hands with Dana White and being there and being all buddy or whatever the fuck, right? But a Canadian won. So check this out. So did you catch that? Alright, so I'm gonna mute it. We'll let this loop for a second. So the Canadian fighter at UFC wins the UFC tournament in Winnipeg, in Canada, proceeds to try to, like, do his cheer, proceeds to have his coach or whoever hand him a Canadian flag, and the guys hosting the event yoinked the flag away from him. Fucking Americans are so fucking fragile, they can't even let somebody from another country wave their own flag in that country. Brother! This is the most fragile, and Polyev was there, shaking hands with the people who did this. My fucking guy. Maybe they didn't know what it was? You think, like, people who are running the event don't know what the Canadian flag looks like? It's on his ass! Oh my god. Yeah, sore losers is right. Fucking Christ. Honestly, you would have made a point to take the flag back. Oh, he does. Look at it. He makes a whole point about it. He's like, are you kidding? And then he's just like, Canada, right? Like, I disavow those Americans. I believe they don't know what anything is. No. Apparently, so rumor has it that that Dana White is pissy about Canada telling the United States, okay, bet, and so he didn't want anything showing. But, like, there's maple leaves all over the place. Everything, look at the background. It's all fucking red and white. Because they're in fucking Winnipeg. Do you guys know where Winnipeg is? You guys want me to show you where Winnipeg is? Hold on, let me get a map out for you. Let's go to Google Earth, as we do. As you do. I always go to Gurgle Earth. Gurgle Girth. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Wahoo! Alright. Winnipeg is one of our capital cities, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just take this guy off. Congratulations, by the way, to the Canadian athlete who won the UFC. Good job. So here's Toronto, right? There's Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Dakota, Montana, right? There's Alberta over here. Here's Ontario. There's Quebec. There's Manitoba. There's Winnipeg. It's right here. That's Winnipeg. Look at it. Oh, isn't it cute? Isn't it cute? Isn't it cute? Winnipeg's in Manitoba. It is just north of North Dakota and a little bit north of Minnesota. So, like, where we got, like, a bigger city in North Dakota anywhere? I don't know cities in North Dakota. What's the capital of North Dakota? Jamestown? I don't know. Anyway, it's just north. It's right there. Right there. Yeah, so basically, yeah, it's the capital of Manitoba. Winterpeg. Yeah, you got it. Good to see you, man. Yeah. So, the UFC fight, the championship, was hosted in Winnipeg. So, like, the owner, being Dana White, showed up, fucking was pissy that a Canadian won, and that, I'm a stupid American, and was like, no, you're not allowed to show the flag. And so this is what happened. He goes up to cheer, and then yoink, and he's like, bro, what the fuck? It's such a piss baby move. It's such a piss baby move, man. Fargo, ND was founded by settlers that were kicked out of Winnipeg. Oh, really? That's funny. Insert approved product placement here. Any news on the World Cup? No, not that I know of. Has there been any statements about it? I haven't seen anything. This is like earlier this week. Let me just check UFC updates. UFC Winnipeg. Let's see if I type that in, something comes up. Yeah, April 18th, live from Canada Life Center in Winnipeg. The results and the main card, the Canadian won. Official score. The scorecard. Winnipeg the guy's name is Mike. Of course his name is fucking Mike. It's great. Go away. Sports Town, UFC Fight Night. The only Canuck on the main card. Takeaways, burnouts. Yeah, there's not really any coverage of this, to be honest. What if I add Canadian flag? UFC Winnipeg Canadian flag. Okay, here's one. From a website called Bloody Elbow. Here we go. See if you guys can see this. Bloody Elbow. UFC official snatching flag away from Mike at UFC Winnipeg explained by manager. This past Saturday, the premier promotion returned to Canada for UFC Winnipeg. Fuck off! Headlined by a welterweight clash between Mike and Gilbert. Gilbert Burns. Burns was hoping to snap, blah, blah, but it was proper. Mike, who went on score in the third round of the knockout. Blah, 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 blah. Manager explains why Mike had flag snatched away during celebration. After picking up what is likely regarded as the biggest win of his career thus far, he wanted to celebrate with his hometown fans, during which he jumped to the top of the cage and was thrown a Canadian flag by one of his cornermen, that's what I thought, as he looked to hold it up. But before he was able to lift it up, the flag was snatched away from him by one of the UFC officials standing cage side, much to his confusion and dismay. And now it was explained by longtime MMA manager Daniel Rubenstein why he wasn't allowed the flag. Quote, they are allowed to walk out with flags. They don't allow them to display flags in the octagon because it blocks the sponsors and logos that paid to be on the canvas and octagon posts, explained on Twitter. For quite a long period of time, the UFC fighters weren't even allowed to walk out with their national flags. Former UFC bantamweight champion recently revealed that the reason as to why he had his Georgian flag tattooed on his pectoral. Wow. It also sounds like such a piss poor excuse. Like, you would think that everybody would, whatever. Yeah, it smells like bullshit to me. That sounds like bullshit to me. But anyway, congratulations to Mike. Boo. Boo this man, boo. All right. So here's the other thing that I had for Kuzma. Let's jump back to Kuzma for a second. July 1st date for Kuzma review, a checkpoint, not a cliff, Canada's chief negotiator says. Agreement set July 1st as a day countries can signal intention to exit the pact, but still remains in place. Canada's chief trade negotiator said the July 1st date to review the North American Trade Pact shouldn't be viewed as a hard deadline, noting that some trade points won't be entirely hashed out by that date. Quote, there's a lot of focus on July 1st, which is kind of a checkpoint. It is not a cliff. It's not determinative of the future of our trade relationship. Janice Charette said during Canadians' Chamber of Commerce Summit in Ottawa on Tuesday. This is the first time she has spoken publicly since Prime Minister Mark Carney tapped the former Privy Council clerk to head the Canada-US-Mexico agreement Kuzma talks in February. Kuzma, which was first negotiated during U.S. President Donald Trump's first term in office, is up to mandatory review this year. The text of the agreement says July 1st. It is the date that the three countries need to approve a renewal of the existing agreement or signal their intention to exit the pact, but that process can take up to 10 years. So maybe we don't need to be as freaked out by Kuzma as somebody seems to be. It's okay, dude. You can calm down. You don't have to get your knickers in a twist. Don't get your panties in a wad. She said on Tuesday that she hopes to have a number of issues worked out by July 1st, but that there are likely still some issues that will need to be addressed after that date. Quote, I don't think we should expect that necessarily we're going to have everything resolved with a bow ready to go by July 1st. It is really important, I think, to focus on getting a comprehensive solution, not necessarily a fast solution. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer has also previously indicated that not all trade issues are likely to be hashed out by July. So yeah, the Canadians and the people in the United States are not expecting to be ready to go by July 1st. Quote, we aren't probably going to be able to resolve all issues by July 1st, but I think we are on track to resolve many of them and move as quickly as we can, Greer said earlier this month. And there's a big difference in language. The United States is in a hurry because they have no deals in a billion days. And Canada has a shitload of deals and is less concerned about the speed at which this is going. Greer met with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum on Monday, according to a joint statement released by Greer's office. That statement indicated that the U.S. and Mexico will hold an official bilateral negotiation round in late May. A date to start similar official negotiations with Canada has yet to be set, but government officials insist they've had ongoing conversations with U.S. counterparts. Dominic LeBlanc, the minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade, told CBC News Network's Power and Politics that he expects to get an official start date when a fair deal feels attainable. I low-key like Dominic LeBlanc. I'm not gonna lie, this dude's pretty fucking funny. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think you need to panic, guys. I think it's okay. I'll give you guys a link to this if you want to read it in full, but it's basically exactly what I was saying earlier. It is not the end of the world. It's not gonna be we don't need to panic about this. It is just a matter of like, shit's gotta do its thing. You know what I mean? And if the no deal, yeah. If the United States is going to be a pain in the ass, Canada and Mexico are both more than capable of dragging their feet on this for 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not really that big of a deal at the end of the day, because the existing agreement is what's going to hold until whatever gets decided. And so I'm pretty sure this lady's going to fucking eat him for lunch. I'm not going to lie. Like, what? It's not like there's any fucking use in making any agreement with Donald Trump anyway, since he reneges. He even's reneging on the Kuzma that he signed into effect and said it was the worst deal ever. It's like, bro, that's your deal. What do you mean? So there's that. I want to come back to one more thing because I want to know what the Americans think. I want to hear what the people of the United States are thinking of what Carney was saying. But before we do that, I'm just going to give us a quick break, go get a fresh drink, and I'll be right back. I figured it'd be funny to just put that on loop. All right. Hey, yeah, okay, what up? We're back. Okay, so I got this. This guy does reactions to, this is Tyler. He does he's an American. He does reactions to shit that's going on in politics in Canada. He views himself or presents himself as an average American. I don't know how long he's gonna have to educate himself about, like, the rest of the world, which he is doing. So props to him for that, but I don't know how long before he's not considered average anymore. Is Lutnick still around to the trade deals? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard much from him. Trump announced the Kuzo deal. Yeah, the emperor wears no clothes. All right, you guys ready? Let's dive into this. I don't dislike Tyler, so anything that I say here that it seems critical, it's all meant to be in good faith.
What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to a very recent address by the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, and this seems to be about a variety of different topics, including, the promising looking future of Canada and how the United States, we probably won't be a part of any of that. So I'm very...
Yeah, that's probably true. Why is he talking like that? I don't know. He talks like that really slow a little bit at the beginning of his videos, and then he picks it up.
Very curious to take a look at this, actually, because personally, I think that the current declining relationship between Canada and the United States is the perfect example of how the U.S. government and Donald Trump is completely failing the U.S. and the American people. And
he has come to that conclusion after, like, quite a bit of time, I think, from my understanding.
So I'd really like to see where Canada stands on a lot of this stuff, and I don't know, I guess also what you guys are up to as well. And, to be honest, here in the United States, we really don't pay attention to, like, other outside perspectives and what's...
You barely pay attention to your own stuff.
going on outside the U.S. and how we affect other things and what people think of us and what's going on. And it's a really big flaw that we have. So I think it's very important to check this out. So let's take a look.
Security can't be achieved by ignoring the obvious or downplaying the very real threats that we Canadians face. I promise you, I will never sugarcoat our challenges. Instead, I will talk with you directly and regularly about our plan.
That sounds nice. I wish we had anything remotely close to that going on here. Oh my God. Yeah, we haven't even gotten into the speech yet. And it's like, you already got me saying, like, geez, that'd be nice for just to have, like, no matter what you think of Mark Carney, if you love the guy or you don't, or whatever your politics may be, like, I gotta say, from an American perspective, it's just gotta be nice to have someone who's just, like, articulate, poised, educated. Like, I don't mean to go on too much of a rant here, but even just...
Are the Americans jealous? Yeah, no, Feline's got a good point. You guys had Obama. Obama was educated and eloquent and poised. Whether or not you agreed with every single one of his policies, whether or not you agreed with every single thing that he said or did, which certainly there are things I'm sure people would disagree with, but he was at least educated, at least he was articulate, and at least he was poised. He had at least those three.
With all the stuff that's been going on in the United States, and all the stuff that we have been doing to Canada and the rest of the world, to be quite honest,
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when you live here in the US and you just see Trump in the news day after day after day, when you see like someone like Mark Carney get up here and say these things like, oh, I'm going to be straightforward and truthful. Yeah, that's a very politician thing to say. I'll be honest.
That's why people voted for Donald Trump. People voted for Donald Trump for the same reasons people voted for Mark Carney. I don't know, you guys do understand this, right? Like, people voted for Donald Trump because they viewed him as somebody who was economically strong, as somebody who wasn't a politician, and who was going to be straightforward and tell people the truth, and he was going to get shit done. That's why people voted for Donald Trump. Hey, Miss Maple, thanks for the raid. What's going on? Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're talking about politics. Fair warning, we are in fact talking about politics.
R011 just followed.
Come on in, come on in, come on in. Enjoy your assigned brick. When you follow, you are assigned a brick. That is your assigned brick.
Kim just followed.
You come from a good, you came from a political stream. Okay, good. You were already talking about politics. Okay, I didn't want to like throw you guys for a loop. Mr. Present for 5 says, I'm German. I'm also jealous, to be honest. Yeah, Mark Carney is pretty solid. And it's also good to see you, Mr. Present. You like that brick?
Neuropunk nonsense just followed.
Enjoy your bricks, enjoy your bricks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Politics is suffering, politics is life. It do be like that. Right now we're looking at, Mark Carney did a... Thank you so much, everybody. Mark Carney did a speech recently where he's addressing sort of everybody. So we watched the speech, and we've been now we're looking at what an American is responding to that speech with. The measure of a society is how we treat the most vulnerable and marginalized. Remember to be kind to yourself. Human rights are non-optional. Absolutely, absolutely. Welcome, 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 folks. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Thanks for swinging by. Okay. Right now, we're thinking that everybody else is jealous of Canada and having Mark having Mark Carney. Bricks are good for building and other things. Yes, you will notice if we could get some bricks in the chat, please. Bricks in the chat. Throw some bricks around. Watch this. Watch what happens. Let there be bricks! Yay! Bricks are for throwing. You're a Canadian politics content creator. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I will definitely make sure to give you a follow back and check you guys out. I'm looking forward to it. And definitely at some point, maybe we can collab sometime. For sure. For sure.
Just followed.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Miss Maple, for the raid. Greatly appreciated. You have a lovely bunch that seems to enjoy their raids. Hey, the Canadian flags. We do have a mixed group of people here. Some people are from Germany. Some people are from the UK. Some people are from Canada. Some people from the United States. So we definitely have an eclectic group. So, yes, it is a very politician-y thing to say, oh, well, like, I'm just gonna be straightforward with you and I'm gonna tell you about the problems, blah, 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 and then they proceed to deflect issues. Mark Carney does not seem to be deflecting issues so far, in my opinion, and so far we've voted every time we've watched him do Q&As, we've voted about whether or not we thought he answered the questions, and it does seem that the majority of time he does seem to be at least attempting to answer the question. On the other hand, I remind you what I was saying as we got raided, thank you so much, the people voted for Mark Carney for the same reasons they voted for Donald Trump on the opposite ends of the spectrum. So the people in the United States were voting for Donald Trump. If you ask Trump supporters, they were voting for Donald Trump because they thought he was going to be tough on trade and crime or whatever. They thought he was going to present as powerful. They thought he was going to be good for the economy. They thought he was, like, educated in the economy and he would be good at it. than like business or whatever, and they thought he was going to be truthful and straightforward, and he wasn't a politician. He was a political outsider. Carney ran as a political outsider, right? Carney is leaning on his education and his jobs in economics, right? People think he's going to be strong on trading. People were voting for them for the same fucking reasons, but you ended up with a con artist and actually an educated guy. And the reason why Mark Carney is not a con artist in this case, and how you could tell ahead of time, is by looking at their history. You can see how many things Donald Trump, you can look at his history and see how unsuccessful he was at business. You can look at his history and see how many times he was bankrupt. You can look at his history and see how much he like just screwed people over, the people who worked for him, etc., 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 including like not paying his lawyers, yada yada yada. This is disregarding, you know, the sexual assault and the Epstein stuff, which is a whole bag of worms. And then you have somebody like Mark Carney, who was the governor of the Bank of Canada and the governor of the Bank of England, and he was on, I believe, was it a board? I can't remember if it was a board or if it was like a smaller group that was about directing clean energy investment. Hey, welcome. Good to see you. All right, let's keep going.
But man, that's just like refreshing, honestly.
Why we're doing what we're doing. What's working? What isn't?
Advisory council. Yeah, that's what it was. Thank you very much.
And what we're going to do next. So here's the current situation.
Oh, he also said something about the safety, like acknowledging like the truth of what's happening and to prioritize the safety of Canada. I can't help but think, like, is that alluding to us, the US? Like, because that's like right at the beginning of his speech here, like saying,
I low-key feel bad for Tyler before his his content was a lot more loosey-goosey, and he was doing like Canadian heritage moments and stuff like that, and that was a good time. But poor guy.
Like, because it's, you know, I got to admit, true, right? Like the US has literally threatened Canada many times over the last year, economically, financially, physically. Like what Trump said, he literally wanted to like take over Canada or make it
ICE has grabbed Canadian citizens. There's one that's in dispute where they actually might have gone over the border to grab somebody. So there's also that. But even disregarding that for a hot second, do people just forget that this is Trump's second term, and one of the first things he did during his first term was tariff Canada? That's the first thing he did. That was one of the first things he did.
Part of the US, like he said that. He openly has said that. So, yeah, that's another thing on Mark Carney's mind, that he's saying to, like, you got to be realistic about that and what that means and how Canada has to respond, I suppose.
The world, as I said earlier, is more dangerous and divided. The U.S. has fundamentally changed its approach to trade, raising its tariffs to levels last seen during the Great Depression.
The U.S. has fundamentally changed its approach to trade, is putting it
that is being so
lightly. That's putting it politely. We have taken on the most moronic, self-inflicted wound, stupidity, idiotic policy decision-making, perhaps in American history, is how I would put it. But yeah, and all that stuff has obviously had huge ramifications on the United States, but also how Canada has to respond to that as well. So.
Many of our former strengths.
You know what? On the plus side, at least he's acknowledged that. I think he's got the tariffs figured out. Thank you so much, Stargazer. There's your assigned brick. Please enjoy. One of the things that we talked about Tyler a while ago, at the beginning of last year, I think, maybe it was around this time last year, actually. He talked about the G7. He was talking about the G7 meetings, and I was unimpressed with one or two of the things he said. where he was talking about Donald Trump said something like ridiculously wrong about like the founding of the G7 and how many people were in the G7 and when and like why. He said he got it completely backwards that Russia was kicked out of the G7 and then started the war with Ukraine. And that was the opposite. Russia got kicked out of the G8 at the time because they started the war in Ukraine. And Tyler was like, oh, you know, I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Maybe he's right. And if that's the case, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, bro, no, just Google it. Bro, please Google this. Don't.
Based on our close ties to America, have become our weaknesses that we must correct.
Why are you surprised?
It's so bad. Like, if you're an American who gives a crap at all about the future of the US and our, like, Canada, our best friend for a long time, our, like, best trading partner. If you care at all about that stuff as an American, like, you should, like, it makes you want to slam your head against the wall. It's so bad. It's so bad what we have done. You cannot overstate how bad it is. And just hearing, like, the leader of Canada come out and be like, yeah, all that stuff that we used to do with the United States, that's all going away. That's all, everything that used to mutually benefit us, that's now being used against us. So, and you know what? I can't blame you one bit. Maybe that's the most infuriating part, is as an American, you cannot blame Canada for any of that.
Yeah, I do want to say I do like Tyler. There are things that I disagree with him about, but I enjoy his take. He does seem like he's trying. He doesn't seem like he's being like a disrespectful prick. You know what I mean?
I mean, just given what we have done to Canada, the things we've said, the trust that we have broken, I'm well aware of it. I don't know how,
now you
a lot of Americans, I'm afraid, are maybe either ignorant of the whole thing, unable to empathize with Canada's position, or just don't care, or what, but...
And this is where, again, I start to have to ask the question, does Tyler still count as a typical average American? Right? Does the fact that he now has a better idea and understands a little bit more about where Canada is coming from and what actions the United States is doing and how those actions affect the rest of the world, is he still a typical average American? And I hate to be the dick here, but I'm gonna be the dick here. A lot of other countries and a lot of citizens in other countries think Americans are fucking stupid. And not only do they not think that Americans know anything about their countries, but also think that Americans are proud to not know anything about their countries and don't even expect any American to know anything about their country, or sometimes even that their country exists. So that being the case, so the on average, that expectation is so fucking low. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's the fact of the matter. It's just the perception. We are literally huge and right above you. And the average American doesn't know dick shit about us. Let alone Ukraine. Let alone, which apparently a lot of Americans care about for some reason. And they have no idea. They don't know what they're talking about.
With the literal decline of the United States happening before our very eyes, I mean, the leader of Canada is literally right here on the screen saying, like, yeah, doing business with the United States is a weakness. Like, and a lot of people, like a lot of nations, like starting with Carney's speech in Davos. Like, he's got a lot of worldwide influence. Like, a lot of people agree with what he is saying. Like...
He does.
This is so bad for the U.S. And we have done it onto ourselves. So
Again, whether or not you agree with Carney or not, and whether or not wherever you fall on the political spectrum, Carney has a lot of built up goodwill amongst other countries. And his resume... basically makes him like the guy for this job. again, if you want to renegotiate, you want to build these trade routes, you want this economic shift and to deal with these problems that are by no real means Canada's fault, quote unquote, I don't know if you could personally pick out a better person for the job right now.
Yeah, it's painful to listen to, even. Maybe it's more painful because it's true. Maybe that's what it is.
Workers in our industries most affected by U.S. tariffs, in autos, in steel, in lumber, are under threat. Businesses are holding back investments, restrained by the pall of uncertainty that's hanging over all of us. The U.S. has changed, and we must respond.
The U.S. has changed. If you can't tell, I'm very worried for the future of the United States, and some of the things I've been hearing about, like Canada and what you guys are doing. And
before I let him go too far into that, I don't, as much as it's easy to blame Donald Trump and his administration for everything that's going on because they are the ones literally taking the actions, this has been the direction that the United States has been going for quite some time. They are basically, they're making the problem really fucking obvious. They are a problem on their own, so I don't want to just call them a symptom, but these are systemic problems, not just problems of individual politicians, nor just individuals in politics, right? So, again, as much as it's easy to just be like, oh, well, fuck Donald Trump, blah, 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 fine, yeah, I agree with you, but also, right? Right, and yeah, you're 100% correct. It took public support and corporate influence to get here. Absolutely, and over years of time.
People investing in Canada and new trade partners and visiting Japan. Mark Carney doing the Beyonce world tour and like...
That's something that you'll also notice is a really big difference between Carney and Donald Trump. Donald Trump is saying this 100 deals and 90 deals in 90 days, or whatever the fuck they were saying. But he never left. He stayed in his office and has been expecting everybody to come to him. As opposed to Carney, who is traveling around to go to talk to other people. Hello, we see you. Twitch has not yeeted you yet today. Congratulations. I don't need a mental picture of Carney as Beyonce. Valid. Pierre Poilievre would have done a better job, but we are seeing liberals taking a temper tantrum over this issue. They could have made a deal with the United States. They didn't, and Carney still refuses to talk to the United States. I mean, that doesn't seem to be the case. The Kuzma dates and stuff are all, and Carney's cabinet are already set to do these negotiations and these conversations, so that's not quite true. Second half of what you said, Poilievre would have done a better job. Based on what? And based on which issue? You said liberals are taking a temper tantrum over this issue. Which issue are you talking about? Are you talking about trading with the United States? And can you please tell me what 5% of 20% is? Nobody answer for him! Don't answer for him. What's 20%? 5% of 20%. You can use 100 as your baseline. I believe in you. You can do it.
Visiting off.
The United States also, yeah, good point. The United States, so the Kuzma deal that Donald Trump signed in, he has violated that deal. And when he has violated that deal illegally, what point are you thinking is going to be the negotiating point that we should even bother wasting our time negotiating with Donald Trump? And you look at any deal that Donald Trump has made, he has reneged on that deal. There seems to be no real valid reason to make a deal with him anyway. So I will not be surprised to see Mexico and Canada drag their feet until there's a new president.
Australia and Finland.
Yep.
And like getting all these trade partners, and that's what, that must feel pretty good as a Canadian, right? Like, if you're an American, so. What do we have to be proud of right now? Like, or look forward to? Like, bombing the Strait of Hormuz or whatever for the 18th time again? Like,
open, closed war?
To now? What?
Canada Strong is our plan to build Canada by Canadians, for Canadians. It will attract new investment so we can build more for ourselves, striking new partnerships.
Is anybody else noticing the parallels in the rhetoric between Make America Great Again and Build Canada Strong for Canadians by Canadians? Like, the rhetoric is like they run parallel to each other. But the implication, the inflection on top of like the way it's being implemented, the implementation is just vastly different. Vastly different.
Abroad, so we can sell into new markets.
That's very cool. It's interesting because I don't want to take credit. God, you're gonna have to bear with me for this one. Bear with me. Just hold on for a sec. Bear with me on this one. The United States, us losing our mind, going insane, and pushing Canada away was somewhat of a catalyst.
I don't feel too bad about making typos like that. Sometimes that happened to me. I typed an N instead of a B one time when I was saying something like big. that did not go well. The attitude is different. Well, the attitude is different. The implementation is different, right? So, like, whereas the United States is make America great again by closing its doors off to everybody, Canada's like, we need to make Canada better again, or we need to build Canada, is not saying that Canada is broken, right? Make America great again implies that the United States is bad and is broken and needs to be fixed and is not great. Whereas build Canada is about growing more, not because we're currently bad. On the other hand, it also like opening the door to more trade from other places as opposed to closing ourselves off, gets rid of that like that hyper individual isolationist imperial fucking nonsense, right? Carney sabotaged the first talks with the states. Do you have a citation for that? So you are saying we should just forget about all trade with the states? No. It would be, we are too geographically close that we were literally attached with one of the longest borders in the world. It would be crazy to not, and especially with how big the American economy is, specifically even just California. Even California alone has a fucking GDP the size of like it's like the fourth biggest. It's bigger than some countries. It's bigger than actually most countries. So you've only got like 90% of what you're talking about and what you're assuming about us here incorrect. But can you please tell me what 5% of 20% is? It would be crazy. What we want to do, and I think what Carney's plan is, from my understanding, is that to take that 75% of trade that we're doing with the United States and lessen that to closer to 50% or under, and then spread out that other 40% amongst other countries.
It seems for Canada to be like, okay, we're gonna go like rule the world. No, we're gonna go work with the rest of the world. Distance ourselves from the US and do all this amazing stuff that you've been doing. And so
there's also no viable reason for Canada to stop all trade with the United States. There's no reason for that. We make a lot of money from the United States. There's not really any reason for us not to trade with them whatsoever. It would also really fuck over the United States, and I don't think we're really interested in doing that.
Yeah. Can we take any credit for that? Like, motivate?
Bernie said the sabotager that he smirked at the camera. Are you talking about in the White House when Trump was talking about economics, was clearly all over the place and he just like looked over? Carney? God, we watched that. We did a stream about that when that happened. It was so funny.
Canada to do any of that, to get away from us. It's very twisted and backwards and yeah, I don't know.
It's about taking back control of our security, our borders, and our future. There are some who say there's no need for a comprehensive plan. They believe we should wait it out in the hope that the United States will return to normal.
That seems to be what the conservatives who have come by here to try to chat with us have seemed to say, because they don't really seem to have a plan, right? It's just like a plan should already exist or it should already be done with. And it's like, you can't control Donald Trump. There's no reason. Even if you do make a deal with him, it's liable to get thrown out the window the next second anyway. So, like, I don't know, like, the practicality of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Even he doesn't believe it. The American doesn't think this.
This is really testing my ability to be, like, objective, and not because obviously I'm American. Like, I want to see that happen.
The concepts of a plan.
Like, objectively, it would take at least until Donald Trump is out of office. So
right? At least, the American is telling us we're not going to get a proper deal with the United States until Donald Trump is out of office. So what do you want me to say? On the other hand, did not Donald Trump say what he wanted from Canada to stop, like, the tariffs and stuff? And the thing he said that he wanted was friendship? Thank you so much for the follow. Enjoy your assigned brick.
So, like 3 more years? If you're waiting around to see if things can go back to the way they are,
why
and
would
the
we?
U.S. gets a grip, or take at least 3 more years, and then you don't even know if, like, a Donald Trump...
The United States is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
placement is gonna win the next election or what. So, yeah, like, that's years. Like, you can't just wait around for years. And it's like, the stuff that the United States is doing.
And wait around for years for what? Even if we were on good terms with the United States, that doesn't mean going out to go get new trade with other countries would be a bad thing to do regardless. Right? So, like, why not? Why not have those?
And Donald Trump, I guess, in particular, some of the...
Tyler is hilarious. I kind of wish he pronounced his last name Bouquet. That would be great. If Tyler ever has to, like, get out and run away from the United States, he should move to Quebec, and that's what he should change his last name to. People who think Canada just needs to stay shackled to the United States trade proves that conservatism is a subservient ideology by default. Interesting take. That's an interesting take. I'd like to explore that more, actually. That's a interesting...
Crazy stuff, like, as time is going on, it seems to...
What? Sorry, Auntie in the chat said, a deal with our biggest partners should have been done first, then seeking other trade. We already have an agreement with the United States. Kuzma already exists. It existed last term. So we already had an agreement. So what do you mean? And why? Yeah, also why? What, how do you justify, like, what do you mean?
To be getting more extreme, not less. So I don't know if waiting around that just doesn't seem like a smart thing to do.
Right? Let's just sit around with our dicks in our hands and do nothing. We're back to the conservatives don't know how to do math and would rather do nothing and completely just spend all their time bitching. Do you have a solution? Yeah, we had NAFTA before that.
Good old days will come back. But
now again, from the American point of view, that's all any of us want. That's all at this point, it's so sad. That's what any American wants, I think, is like, can we just go back? Can we just forget the last 15 months, 16 months ever happened? Please? Like, can we do take-backsies or something?
Hope isn't a plan, and nostalgia is not a strategy. And the days that young Canadians have known all their lives haven't been that good. Their lifetimes have been marked by a series of shocks and crises from abroad. The Iraq War, the global financial crisis, COVID, and now this. We have to take care of ourselves because we can't rely on one foreign partner. We can't.
Sure. Wow. Yeah, this is interesting.
We can't rely on one foreign partner. Why should we rely on one foreign partner?
Seeing this from the Canadian perspective. Like, yeah, very selfish.
This is also everybody making the assumption that Trump is going to be out of power in 2 years, which he may or may not be. look at the way the Conservative Party in Canada has gone. There's still Harper still pulling some strings in the background. We know that. So even if Donald Trump isn't the president, and I don't know, Eric is the president, and Donald Trump is just, in the Oval Office every day, what do you mean? What are liberals doing? Oh, hold on, I got an answer for you. Here you go. It's okay, I got you. Here you go.
But I want to answer the question because I want to be fair about this. And Mr. Poilievre has asked, I don't think it's rhetorically, what has Mark Carney done for the last year on this? Let me address that if I could, because we did talk about this on a podcast a week or so ago. And I think it's worth noting here. Mark Carney has signed trade and or security agreements with, get ready now, here's the list, Australia, the European Union, Germany, France, Italy, Japan, Korea, Latvia, Malaysia, Mexico, the Philippines. You keeping up here, Poilievre? Poland, Qatar, South Africa, the United Arab Emirates, the United Kingdom, and others, of course, that we've talked about in the last little while. He's been to Beijing, where Canada agreed to lift tariffs on a limited number of EVs, and in return, got the restrictions on Canadian canola seeds reduced drastically. Other agreements, of course, in India. And this is the stuff that Poilievre just seems to ignore. He did go to the United Arab. He came back with a $70 billion commitment.
I mean, we're implicated in
$70 billion is nothing. See, this is the
But I want to answer.
Why do you think that any trade agreement that Mark Carney is making with any other country is invalid, but you're demanding one from the United States with Mark Carney? Why would that one not be equally as invalid in your point of view? We literally last week just watched an announcement where gas prices, there was a cut to taxes on gas. Gas has already gone down in my area. We also talked about how at the beginning of his term, the first thing that Mark Carney did was cut the carbon tax for consumers. So that's two things, taxes cut, and they're still bitching. Conspiracy theories! Bro, no, the United States definitely didn't. All right, hold on. It's time to get out the questions. It's time to break it out. We're gonna break out the questions because we got some conservatives here that have something to say. So we need to make sure that we gotta get our questions out. All right. If you guys don't mind, thank you conservatives for joining and being here with me. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I have a couple of questions for you just to help. Can you, if you don't mind, taking a moment to do my survey? One, can you please tell me how you got to the stream? Can you please tell me how you got to the stream? All right? No. Don't worry, everybody. Calm down, settle down. Conservatives, how did you find this place? How did you get here? But have you considered nuh-uh? It's okay, we got our questions. How did you get to the stream? Easy one. Easy first question. It's okay, I'll wait. It was on my feed. Okay, that's cool. On your YouTube browser. Yeah. Wait. Should I pull the timer up? I'll pull the timer up. Just so we don't spend too long waiting. Just so we don't spend too long waiting, you know what I mean? Auntie, come on. Don't get distracted. Don't make me break out the keys already. Don't make it, Noel. Don't break me. Don't worry. We're gonna get to the home stuff. Don't make me break my keys out already. Come on. How did you get here? Next question. What is 5% of 20% on 100? Don't answer for them. Yeah, the conservatives have a really hard time answering these questions. We've only had one conservative come by who was able to actually answer most of these. Don't get distracted. What is 5% of 20% on 100? Shut up on your feed. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Take your time. Yeah, on the feed is actually pretty telling. You think 5% on 20% of 100 is 20%? Can you do the math for me on that? Can you show your work, please? Don't forget to show your work. Ooh, squeaky toys would be a good one. I have a duck call. Will that work? I also have a kazoo. I got that one. I have a recorder that I bought from the dollar store. No, it's 25%. Show your work, Noel. It's 5% of 20%. Good God. All right, next question. Can you name one policy that Pierre Poilievre has penned and put through during his time in government? I'll say it again. Name one policy that Pierre Poilievre has penned and put through during his time in government. No, it's not actually a trick question. I promise you it's not actually a trick question. I promise, I'm not tricking you. I promise. You would believe a little goblin. Yeah, thank you for participating in my, thank you for participating. No, he's not supposed to, he's the opposition. Pierre Poilievre has been in politics for years. He wasn't always the leader of the opposition. Guys. Guys. No, I promise it's not a trick question. This is a very real question. Can you name one policy that Pierre Poilievre has penned and put through during his time in government? Yay! I'm drowning. Head desk. Where did this idea that comes from the opposition can't write legislation? I have no idea. Even if he is opposition, he can still write legislation. There's nothing stopping him from doing that. I got one more question. I've only got 4 questions. I'll read the last one. Why should people vote for Pierre Poilievre? Don't tell me why I shouldn't vote for Mark Carney. Don't tell me why liberals are dumb and wrong or whatever the fuck. I'll just pretend I agree with you on all that. Why should I vote for the Conservative Party? Why should I vote for Pierre Poilievre? What makes him the guy for the job? This is your guy. Sell me on him. While you guys are thumbing through that, I will go ahead and explain why I asked what 5% apple eating skill. So, one conservative in the chat so far got the math question correctly. 5% of 20% is 1% on 100. All right, so 1. The reason I bring this up, and I will explain. Oh, let me come back. Hold on. Hi. Hello. It's me. Let me come back. The reason why I asked this is because that was Pierre Poilievre's fucking tax break for you to be able to afford a home. People got confused about that somehow. His way of fixing the housing crisis in Canada was twofold. One of them was to give basically a buy one get one free. If you bought more than one property, you would get more money off. But this doesn't help a first-time home buyer. This doesn't help middle class. That is useless to you. The second one was that he was going to give a 5% tax cut. However, people misunderstood. They thought he meant a 5% tax cut, meaning you would be paying 15% instead of 20%. What it actually was a 5% tax cut to the 20%, which meant you went from paying 20% to paying 19%. So how much do you need to make of 1% of your taxes that you're currently paying to be able to afford the down payment on a house? If you were making $20 an hour, not only could not a single conservative that came in here tell me a single policy that Pierre Poilievre has penned, let alone defend the policy, let alone defend, they couldn't even name one. They also did not, only one of them was able to get the answer correctly that the number was 1 on the 20%. So you really think that we're going to be able to actually go through and explain, if you're making $20 an hour, how much money, 1% tax cut on that $20 an hour of income you're going to need before you can be able to afford a fucking house? You think they're going to be able to do that? 5% of 20% is one of the easiest fucking math questions you could fucking ask, my guy. Oh my god. And yet here we are. With no policies, and no reason, and no votes for Pierre Poilievre. Very sad. Alright, let's keep going. Go on, Tyler.
Actually, we think about, like, the financial crisis and the war in Iraq that we started as, like, very American things. But it's like, no, so many of our allies
Oh, you're wishing for the good old days.
were dragged into that stuff and suffered. And yeah, I have to admit, I have not thought about it from that perspective.
Luckily, Morgan in the chat says, man, that YouTube comment section got real quiet. Yeah, surprise, surprise. Conservatives, at least the Canadian conservatives, still have the capability of feeling fucking embarrassed. And the fact that you are going around touting this guy as your guy and aren't able to name a single fucking policy he's ever writ, and be so embarrassing as to think that the opposition can't write policy and not be able to do basic mathematics, basic arithmetic? Come on, guys. Go back, go on, take your time, I'll be here. Go find a policy that Pierre Poilievre has penned, and once you've found one, you can come here, you can explain it, then you can defend it and say how it was definitely a good idea. Once you find out what his policies are, whoo! Good luck! If you really want to talk about housing and affordability for housing, when things went to shit, well, the Pierre Poilievre was the housing minister at the time under Harper. Whoops. You're more than welcome to go and find me how many times Pierre Poilievre has voted for and how many times Pierre Poilievre has voted against affordable housing policies. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you a whole nother time. I'll wait again for a second. Conservatives in the chat that are supporting Pierre Poilievre because you think he's going to make housing more affordable, right? Please go to his voting record, which is public. You can go find it. Go find his voting record and tell me how many times he has voted for affordable housing policies and how many times he's voted against affordable housing policies. I'll wait. Yes. Yes, Feline, yes. Everything in Canada is broken according to Poilievre. I know, right? Everything. And he just thinks he is everything. Very sad. Leading democratic reform and introducing a bill to stop disability benefit clawbacks so disabled Canadians could work without being punished for it. What about it? BC's housing market collapse in 2008 was the canary in the coal mine on Harper and Pierre's policies. Yeah. The 2008 financial crisis. You know, the one that the Conservative Party, that included Pierre Poilievre, had to tap Mark Carney for to help them with? Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, what's the name of the policy, Virtue? You're right. Yeah, no, you named one. Congratulations. We had one person be able to do the math and another person be able to name one policy. Good job. Congratulations.
Perspective before. Thank you for suffering at all for any of our benefit here in the US, but it seems like the American government isn't really holding up its part in being thankful for any of
Oh my god, it was the same person that did both? Okay, then I take it back. Congratulations, the one person who was able to answer 2 of the questions. Good job. I applaud you. Thank you for being able to, And how does that policy, worked out so far?
that for what that's worth.
We can't control the disruption coming from our neighbors. We can't bet our future on the hope that it will
Savant
suddenly
conservative.
stop, but we can control what happens here.
Yeah. This is if you're an American, like, make no mistake, how things were amazing. Like the last, whatever, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Honestly, it's
Yeah, Pierre Poilievre not having a security clearance even now is a really bad look.
been amazing. And a lot of countries, somehow we've like finagled our way into being very successful. We'll take credit for some of that stuff. Like after World War II or whatever, we were in a good position, and
After World War II, Canada specifically stepped down off of military industry to allow the United States to do it.
had a lot of ingenuity and innovation, and America has been successful, but we've also just been in a very good position strategically for the last, decades now. And
A lot of that also has to do with the power of the dollar, of using the United States dollar as the default currency.
we've managed to have trading partners like Canada to our benefit, selfishly. Like,
Oh, Auntie is just fucking delusional. You think Pierre Poilievre has his fucking security clearance? You got a citation for that? Excuse me, hold on one second. Yeah, citation needed.
we love it when other countries depend on us. That's great for us. Of course we want you to depend on it. That you know what I mean? Like, objectively, any company or entity, like, you gain power by having people rely on you and need you. So that was good for us.
Have you heard of Trump's aides in anti-terror has been caught being a sugar baby on sugar daddy websites, and she had a sugar daddy paying her 40 grand a week? Bro, low-key respect that hustle. Damn. I want to make 40 grand a week. Holy shit. I don't even know what I would do with 40 grand a week. I would probably just start throwing money. I would start hiding batches of money. Our money's made out of plastic in Canada, so it wouldn't get wrecked in the rain. So I would just start leaving money around like an Easter egg hunt.
And we should have done everything in our power to keep it. We should have been doing everything to keep it exactly how it was. But somehow, in the craziest twist of fate, Donald Trump, in the pursuit of making America great, has perhaps, I don't know. I was watching a YouTube video a few weeks ago about
I think if you still think that Donald Trump's pursuit was to make America great again or at all, you might want to rethink that.
the downfall of Rome and the downfall of the Spanish Empire, and how there's a lot of similarities going on with the downfall of the United States. Or that would be something. If us electing Donald Trump and his pursuit of perfection and power,
Nah, I don't think that's Donald Trump's pursuit.
that's what
Power,
led to the
sure.
downfall of America.
No, that's putting, in my opinion, I think that's putting too much, on just Donald Trump. And I think if you do that, the United States is never going to learn its lesson. It's just like you don't put the downfall of Rome on one guy, right? The downfall of the United States, what's happening in the United States, was a long time coming and has been a long time coming. This is part of that perception issue where a lot of other countries already had thought Americans were dumb, already thought America was a kind of a crummy place, already thought Americans were ignorant at best and insolent at worst when it came to knowledge about any other countries, and didn't trust the United States and have not trusted the United States since probably Iraq at least, if not longer. Like the whole weapons of mass destruction, we're gonna bring everybody into our stupid fucking bullshit war by lying to everybody and calling Article 5, everybody was already like, and started. Justin Trudeau was already untangling us from the United States. Remember, one of the things that people were critical of Justin Trudeau for doing was going to visit China, right? So whether or not you agree with one thing or another, these are things that have happened. And so I just don't think that people who live in the United States are aware that this is the way the rest of the world has viewed them for a long time. Donald Trump is just a perfect excuse for countries to do stuff they already wanted to do with the right justification to do so. Donald Trump is just pulling the trigger of a gun that has been locked and loaded and pointed at everybody for a long time.
Anyway, that's something I've been thinking about.
We can build a stronger country that can withstand disruptions from abroad, that creates good jobs here at home, that's a leader in this new world with a vast network of reliable allies.
If you're Canadian, that's gotta sound like exciting. To me, that sounds great.
I like it.
That's the Canada Strong plan we're putting into action.
Yeah, the Canada Strong, like Canada First. I've seen some like clips of like US government officials.
I don't like Canada First. I like Canada Strong. I like that better.
Makes them very mad, even though we do the whole like America First. America. Like, now Canada is doing that.
Yeah, the United States makes this mistake of they say America First, but what they mean is America only. Right? And that's no bueno.
And it's like, I've seen that it's made a lot of like US politicians really upset, very hypocritically.
Its goals are ambitious: to catalyze $1 trillion in investment, to create one Canadian economy out of 13, to build new trade and energy.
The security clearance conversation is about how Pierre Poilievre refuses to get his security clearance. So anytime Poilievre is talking about something that is a national security issue, he literally doesn't know what he's talking about. Are you even going to do anything? You're not.
Corridors. And to double the size of our clean energy capacity.
Wow, that is ambitious. I gotta say, I'm gonna keep.
If a law gets written in to say that the prime minister is by law required, I don't think it would be written and put through by Carney. It would go through the Supreme Court. So it wouldn't be Carney that does it. I doubt that he'd even be the one to bring that policy forward.
Keep making these comparisons, I think. That sounds exciting compared to like what's going on here in the US. We're not doing anything like investing in ourselves, or I actually think the United States.
And yes, also, Jason, thank you very much for the citation. As of April 2026, conservative leader Pierre Poilievre does not hold a current top secret security clearance. He has consistently refused to obtain this clearance. Why doesn't he get it? So his reasoning of why he doesn't get it is that he says that if I have my top level security clearance, then I won't be able to talk about anything that I'm told, so I'll be gagged and I won't be able to talk about anything. So he would prefer to talk out of his ass, is one of his reasons. His second reason is, well, that's his main reason. The reason that everybody is suspicious about is his wife and his wife's family have moved into Canada, and their immigration process has been questionable. There was also another question about Pierre Poilievre being very, very chummy with a handful of online political influencers that were given a lot of money by Russia and India, respectively, and his entanglement with them. Because if he goes for a top-level security clearance, he has to get, like, the equivalent of, like, the Canadian FBI, where they go through all of his shit. So there is speculation that he's got dirt and would likely get in some very real legal trouble if they were to investigate him in that way. And that's why he won't. I don't know if that's true. That's just what the speculation is. When it comes to what is the truth, he claims that it's because he wants to be able to say whatever the fuck he wants regardless of what he knows, which is not a good look either. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation for him.
States has had such a long period of prosperity and power, we have forgotten anything else. Like, now Canada is like going out, attracting trade partners, asking for investors. America, we're just used to like having this attitude of like...
So Pierre Poilievre's security issue is about accountability. Yes, it's about accountability, and I would also probably throw in that it's also about, like, if you want to be the prime minister and you want to be the opposition and you want to write policies and you want to complain about foreign affairs and the military, you need the information to make those complaints legitimate in the first place. It doesn't mean you have to leak anything to be able to write these policies, but it gives you the information that you need to be able to either speak or write policy or appropriately oppose policy as the opposition, right? So.
You'll come to us. We're the best. We're the greatest place. They'll come here, you know. They'll all come here and spend your money here. That is an attitude. And now that that's not true anymore, I don't think we've come to terms with like how to exist or
that. And you may not have noticed that it was like that since probably the Iraq War.
Like, we've relied on that for so long, and now it seems to be ending. And I don't know what we're going to do, but I don't know. This seems like real exciting, the stuff you're doing in Canada. A lot of this stuff.
Yes.
I'm excited for it.
That's ambitious. But in a crisis, fortune favors the bold. And there's comfort and confidence to be found in our country's history. We've begun to make big structural changes in the Canadian economy. And they're all designed to make us stronger at home and less reliant on the United States. On housing, we're taking a solution from the past, modernizing it, and creating a new housing agency to build affordable homes.
Let me make this easier for Anti to understand. You're telling me that he has his normal driver's license, and I'm saying he wants to drive a semi-truck. Does that understand? So we're saying he shouldn't drive a semi-truck because he doesn't have his license to do so, and you're saying, but he has a driver's license. I don't care if he's got his driver's license, it's irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. He shouldn't be behind the wheel of a semi-truck.
Faster and transform the housing sector in the process.
Okay, cool. I mean, that's extremely difficult to do, right? Like, not to get too much in the weeds here, but we're having a housing crisis in the United States as well. The Canada is as well, from what I understand. Like, I think in the US, like, the average age of a first-time home buyer is like 33 or so. Like, people used to think they'd buy a house, have a family when they're like 23 or whatever, 25. You know, that's not correct. That used to be like the American dream, and now so.
I'm gonna say this for you very slowly, Anti. I'm gonna say this for you very, very slowly. Do I need to get the keys out? Do I need to jangle the keys again? Listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. If Pierre Poilievre wants to make decisions for Canada or oppose the current party about anything related to foreign policy or military, or even if he wants to be critical about any of those things, he needs to know what those things are. Without his top-level security clearance, he doesn't and cannot know the things he's commenting on or about. Hey, come back. Hey. He cannot know those things because he does not have the clearance.
_333 just followed.
He does not have the clearance to have that information in the first place, which means anytime he speaks on military issues or any foreign issues, he doesn't know, so therefore he is bullshitting you, and he's admitting he doesn't know because he refuses to know. All right? You got it? It's not complicated. It's like me saying that, oh, look at me comment on my report card for school that I never opened. Jangle Jangle, thank you so much for joining. Thank you very much for the follow. Enjoy your assigned brick. It's like explaining how taxes work to Trump. It's like explaining how tariffs work. Jesus Christ, guys. It's embarrassing that you can't, you're purposefully.
Irascible Atlantic just followed.
Thank you so much for the follow. Enjoy your assigned brick.
It's cool to hear you guys are at least trying to do something about all that.
It's already up and running. And though we have a ways to go yet, housing affordability is already improving. For example, asking rents across Canada at their lowest level in nearly 3 years. On energy and
year over year since last year, mortgages have slightly changed, and the cost of a house has gone down.
infrastructure. We're removing roadblocks that have been getting in the way of big projects. On trade. To sell our goods and create new jobs, we're building relationships with other countries. We've signed 20 new deals on 4 continents in less than a year because Canada has...
So what was that? Somebody was asking, what do the Liberals even do? 20 new deals on 4 continents. You're welcome.
The world wants, from energy to education. We have...
Wow! I like this new Canada. If you know, if that's not reaching too far, like this. It's bold. It's like just a little bit egotistical, dare I say, and I like it. And you got to have. Maybe this is like an American sentiment, but to succeed, you know, and really change the world, to think that you can, you got to have a little bit of an ego, you know, not too much. That's bad, but you got to kind of think like you're awesome, like, and you've got valuable things to offer. And I like that's kind of the approach Canada.
That is such an American way to put that. No, you don't have to have an ego. You just need to have the numbers to back it up that what you're saying is true. Canada has some of the best rated universities in the world, period. Canada has some of the purest uranium in the world, period. Our hydroelectrical system is one of the best in the world. Our ability to build nuclear plants is one of the best in the world. Our manufacturing is some of the best in the world. Not because we have an ego about it. It's because these are the facts. It's just the fact of the matter.
Canada is doing now. I like that. I think that's good.
We have the values to which most of the world aspires. And we're a reliable partner in a world that is anything but. We're defending Canadian sovereignty by investing in our security and creating an industry to support it.
So the investing in the Canadian security stuff, is that directly like... Is that talking... I mean, the world...
Part of it's military.
...is in a scary state right now, right? Like with Ukraine, Russia, now...
Can we also point out that Ukraine, Russia is also kind of the United States' fault? Like, that's kind of their fault. They kind of did that. That's kind of them. They're the ones that kind of did that. We all know that, right? Do I need... for anybody who doesn't know this, there was a 3-way agreement between Ukraine, Russia, and the United States where they were going to denuclearize Ukraine on the agreement that the United States would back up Ukraine if Russia attacked them, and Russia agreed to not attack them. That was the agreement, right? And so they did it. Ukraine denuclearized, and then they got attacked by Russia, and then America's just been like, oh, well. So kind of the United States like fucking shown the fuck up right out the gate, we would not be fucking where we are right now when it comes to fucking Ukraine and Russia. And this would not be fucking going on for as long as it was. On the other hand, you know who showed up to help the United States when they called for help? In Iraq?
It was Ukraine.
Ukraine was there.
The U.S. and Iran and the U.S. It was the U.S. and Greenland, U.S. Canada, Israel Palestine stuff even, and a lot of uncertainty and chaos and death and war in the world right now. So
oh yeah, Canada's been there the whole time. Canada's been standing with Ukraine the entire time. We're also in Poland right now because Russia decided to do some finagly shit, and Canada was like, hey, what's going on there, bud?
he might be alluding to that, or maybe the U.S. in particular, or probably both.
We've embarked on an ambitious new mission to rebuild, rearm, and reinvest in the Canadian Armed Forces, with the single largest increase in defense investment in generations. As a result, recruitment to serve our country is already up 13%.
Really?
13%. I talked about this early in the stream, but because now there's a bunch of new people here, I'm going to talk about it again because I'm like, there's something about Canadians. Historically, normally, you would think that talks of war would mean a decrease in people joining and recruitment to the military. Not in Canada. Canada's like, oh, you're going to attack us? Okay, bet.
It's the first time since the fall of the Berlin Wall that Canada will be spending what our allies expect and what we need for our defense.
Wow. Yeah, because like I don't know much about the Canadian military, but here in the U.S., we spend an ungodly amount of money on our military. I think we're known for that. I don't know if Canada's what.
It's not about whether or not you agree with the United States, Ukraine, and Russia. The point is that the United States committed to protecting Ukraine and then left them hanging. That's all. That's what matters in the context I'm talking about. So whether or not you think that the United States should be responsible for protecting Ukraine or not, you already agreed to do it and then reneged on it. So it doesn't fucking matter. It means regardless of whatever you fucking think, nobody on the rest of the planet thinks the United States is worth a fucking damn when it comes to having a protection agreement. So all of the United States talk about we're going to pull out of NATO. We don't trust you anyway. The entire thing about Article 5 and Trump being like, oh, will other countries show up if we do Article 5? Yeah. The only country that's ever called Article 5 was the United States. Do I need the jangly keys again? And yeah, would Russia have attacked Ukraine if Ukraine had nukes to protect itself? Ukraine didn't have nukes because it denuclearized. Did you just not hear what I said the first time?
You're really known for with your military. I did a video recently learning that you guys have some of the deadliest sniper marksman killers in the world.
We do, yes.
Which is scary and impressive.
Canada held the record for a number of years, got beaten out for a couple of years, and then I think Canada's back on top of that again. I'm not 100% sure though.
I didn't know that.
And see, that's the fucking problem, Jonkler. I will quote. Jonkler says, and I quote, United States... Oh, sorry, no, that's... where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Where are you? There you are. I don't care about some Slavic country thousands of miles away when this deal was made before I was born. So let's double check. When was the deal made? USA, Ukraine, Russia, it was like a non-aggression pact, right? So let's see. Peace negotiations. Peace talks, the ongoing Russian-Ukraine war. No, that's not it. Was it the treaty? No, this is the one that was signed in... Oh, no, this might be it. 1997. Signed in 1997. Anyway. Or was it the Budapest Memorandum? Signed a commitment in 1994. Yeah, 1994. So... yeah, 1994. So there's a couple of things, and I do want to take this point by point because I do think this is part of the problem. I don't care about some Slavic country thousands of miles away when this deal was made before I was born. Do you care that the people of that Slavic country died helping defend your country? Do you care that people, like your own countrymen, are alive today because the people of Ukraine helped you? No, this is an actual question. Do you care about that? Do you care that your own military service members had their lives saved by Ukrainian soldiers? This is a real question. I'll wait. I'm not entertaining your how. Answer the question, yes or no. LOL how. Yeah, LOL how is right. I just explained. Yes or no? I'll explain after. Yes or no? Do you care? Just take the hypothetical. Since you're so ignorant of your own fucking country's recent history. Yeah, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I am very confident the United States forgot about 9/11. That thing that they promised they would never forget. So yes or no? Do you care that United States service members had their lives saved by Ukrainian soldiers? I like how difficult this question is for you to answer. Tells you something about yourself, doesn't it?
But you guys are making really big revolutionary investment in your military, which is an interesting at this time. That says something to me.
And we're just getting started. Our defense strategy will catalyze $500 billion in investment in Canada over the next decade. Our plan for Canada is gaining momentum, and it will work. But we are not going to fix all our problems.
Ukraine was not in NATO when they went to Iraq. You are correct.
Tomorrow. And there will be setbacks along the way. The biggest payoffs will take time. So we know the Canadians need a boost today and a bridge to tomorrow.
I like that. Again, as slick as Mark Carney is, I always, no offense to him, but with any politician ever, I don't care who they are, it's always in the back of my mind, are they just saying what you want to hear? Or
that's a good sense to have. It's important to have a healthy dose of skepticism anytime you're listening to any politician and pretty much anybody.
No, but putting that aside, the cynical part of me and politicians and that maybe I'm just so jaded and warped from American politics and American politicians. Maybe I'm projecting that a little, but that certainly put me on my guard here. So that's fair. For better or for worse. But putting that aside, I like what he's being honest. He's like, it's not all gonna be quick or easy or all work, and that's.
Oh, let me answer that question for you, Templar. Yes, Jonkler is morally bankrupt, disgusting, and probably racist. I feel like when you're just oh, these people from a different country, because they're from a different country, they died, I don't give a shit. They couldn't even answer if they cared that Ukrainian soldiers helped the United States soldiers. They could not even answer that question. That alone, pulling teeth. They don't even care about their own country's service members. They don't care about veterans. They don't care about current standing army members. They don't give a shit. They don't care about anybody who died in Iraq or Afghanistan. They don't give a shit. Canadian soldiers died by being shot by United States soldiers. Like, that happened. It was all over our news. A lot of the United people from the United States didn't even hear about it.
Yeah, that is the reality of how things go, and it's nice to
But
hear.
that's the exact view that everybody else has about the United States, and Junkler is just proving the exact point of why everybody is doing and views the United States exactly the way they are. It exactly proves the fucking point. Exactly the point. Yeah, it was a huge controversy. It was massive.
Hear that honesty.
That's why, as we build a stronger economy, we're focused on lowering costs for Canadians. On day one in office, we canceled the consumer carbon tax. We cut taxes for 22 million middle-class Canadians, saving...
Oh, so the Conservatives that all ran away after my handful of questions are gone at the point where we are at a cut for 22 million middle-class tax cuts. Middle-class Canadians.
A two-income family up to $840 this year. We've cut taxes for first-time home.
I don't know. Then they say like out of touch stuff like that. Like, we're saving families $800 a year. 800
That's not out of touch in Canada.
bucks. That's a lot of money. That's like, I'd rather have that than not. But it's like, given what these days, like the mortgage and here in the U.S., like healthcare and just the cost of goods and inflation, and
That $800 is off of one tax cut, not all of them.
it's like, I don't know, it's a little out of touch to be like, hey, we're saving you $75 a month.
No, I think I'm being reasonably fair by giving him like 5 minutes to answer the question before he got timed out for being racist, which, is against terms of service. So, stick with the terms of service.
Like, okay, like, that'll pay for like the Peacock, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus,
Or it'll pay somebody's phone bill. Or it'll be $75 worth of groceries for a month. Or it'll be somebody's hydro bill. So to call it like, this is an Americanism. Just because it's $75 doesn't mean it's being used on like what I would call frivolous entertainment. And I wouldn't call that frivolous entertainment anyway, because you have to have some kind of entertainment in your life.
what was the other one? Paramount Plus bundle.
Home buyers, saving them up to $50,000 on their first homes. We've reduced tolls for vehicles on...
Oh, Tyler, you're not going to say anything about the $50,000 for first-time home buyers? Okay. Misrepresenting it and then fucking disregard... Okay. Not a fan.
Federation Bridge, and cut fares by 50% on ferries in Atlantic Canada. We've launched something called automatic federal benefits. What it does is it will help 5.5 million low-income Canadians get the benefits that they're entitled.
Ami asked, were they racist earlier? I'm not sure, asking why I should care is racist. No, that was not the racist thing that they said. That's not the racist part. The racist part was the dehumanizing of Ukrainian soldiers that was going on. Calling real-life soldiers and real-life children dying in war orcs. That's the racist part.
To. We've made the National School Food Program permanent, feeding 400,000 children and saving their parents $800 a year.
There's another $800.
Okay. I mean, now we're starting to talk here. Like, maybe the sum of all these different programs and policies, maybe this does make a difference.
There you go. Congratulations, you figured it out. No one thing is going to solve everything. It's about doing a bunch of other things that help as many people as possible, as much as they can, that add up to large changes and large amounts over time. If you are a parent whose kid is going to school, you're saving $800 a month. And you are saving another $800, and then you're saving on your travel time for work, and you're getting the 2 different tax cuts that now exist. You're looking at saving about $2,000 a year, if not more. plus another $75 a month, etc., 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 whatever he was saying. That's still better than nothing. And that's not nothing.
Certainly better than, like, I don't ever hear about any of this stuff here in the US.
We're protecting the social programs that give every Canadian a fair chance to get ahead. Childcare, dental care.
Yeah, if you've got a Canadian conservative content creator that you want me to watch, let me know. Put a link down below, like at them in the comment section or something, so I can find them really easy.
And pharmacare. We have every...
Conservatives complain about wanting tax cuts. You literally argued that tax cuts were the main reason for voting for Polyev, and now you're turning around and saying that tax cuts are handouts. What do you want, man?
Childcare. Talk about expensive. Daycare.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Oh my God.
everything we need here at home. Most of all, we have each other. Canadians are the hardest working, best educated people in the world. We care deeply about each other and about our country.
Why is keeping your own money because you're not paying taxes considered a handout, by the way? Just out of curiosity. I'm just curious about your verbiage there. Why is keeping your own money that you earned and not paying taxes on it considered a handout? Please elaborate.
Country. And Canadians have responded to this crisis with that spirit. We're buying Canadian. We're investing Canadian. We're exploring Canadian. Canadians everywhere are all in. We all desire a better country. We've been a great neighbor, always willing to help our friends.
Admittedly, Carney's approval rating in the polling is fucking huge, especially considering like where the Liberals started.
In their times of need. We've stood shoulder to shoulder with our allies in some of the toughest circumstances imaginable. In Kandahar, on Juno Beach, and at Vimy Ridge.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just makes me so like disappointed in the state of like the US and Canada right now.
The state of the states.
Canada has done a lot for us, and we probably haven't really recognized it enough.
We've been a beacon to the world with our values and our ability to always overcome incredible challenges. The situation today feels unique, but we've faced down threats like this before. And in the weeks and months ahead, we're going to want to talk with you again. I know you have busy lives, and you don't need daily
cut out the history
interruptions from me. But the truth is, there's a lot going on in the world, and not all of it is good.
He's going to do... because this is like on the Mark Carney YouTube channel. Mark Carney's becoming a YouTuber. Wow.
Please don't.
He must have been inspired by me, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. That's talk about bold thing to say. But that's cool. Like, I can't help but like smile, and yeah, I'm joking, but like it sounds like he's gonna be making these YouTube video updates. Very savvy, very 2026 of him.
All right. Omi in the chat said, usually tax cuts are a solution. Sometimes they're a part of a solution. So like, for example, the most recent one that we talked about last week is the tax cut that they implemented because of the Iran bombing and stuff like that. So yeah, the taxes are a tool. Sometimes having more taxes is the better option, and sometimes having lower taxes is the better option. It's not just a one way. It's like debt. Having debt as a country is not all bad all the time. It's just a tool. Same with tariffs. Tariffs aren't always bad and always wrong. They are a tool. It's just about them and those things being utilized properly. But that is it. That's all I have time for today. I've got to get going. Am I taking your comment too seriously? No, I thought you had something good to say. You're right? I just wanted to extrapolate on it a little bit. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for following and subscribing if you joined us, if you are new. We do this every Thursdays. So before I go, take a stretch. Thank you so much for joining me. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know if there's people you want me to check out or what you want to watch. I got a couple to talk about as well. Virtue, I'll definitely check out the one that you suggested, provided I go dig that up and I don't forget. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to get on out of here. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll be back next Thursday doing this. Otherwise, I am doing art, or I'm playing games, or I have a channel that is a debate channel. So if you're interested in debates and stuff, that's on YouTube. It's at Debate Hub Official. It's the one that looks like definitely not the Pornhub logo. Go and check that out over there. Thank you so much. And if you would like to participate or do a debate, let me know and hit me up. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.